aren't just looking for a vibe anymore. They're looking for a biological return on investment. We're seeing 25-year-old people asking, how do I keep my hair density the same when I turn 45 as it is today? Hello, guys. You're tuned into another episode of Unraveling the Knots, the podcast where we dive deep into everything rich in natural hair. I'm Ganiat Salami, your host. I'm a beautypreneur, natural hair enthusiast, and your go-to podcaster when it comes to hair gist. Abina, if this is your first time here, you are very welcome. Oh, I'm glad you have joined us. Please don't forget to subscribe, share the podcast, and invite your people. Please be generous enough to share the vibes here. And to our returning listeners, you guys are the UTK family, the real ones. You're too much. You already know how I appreciate you. Thank you for always showing up. Now, let's get into the matter of today. It's one of those conversations that makes you pause and say, so this thing I've been noticing is actually real. And see, we're going to be a little sciencey, but don't worry. We'll break it all the way down. Today, we're talking about gray hairs. And no, we aren't talking about covering grays. This is 2026. There are more innovations now, guys. So you may not need to get that hair dye again. Today, we're specifically talking about how to slow down gray hairs. And while we were doing research on this, we found new information related to reducing grays. Like this whole field apparently is called molecular longevity or hair longevity. Who knew? Now, hair longevity means helping your hair stay strong, healthy, and youthful for a long time. It can help slow down things like early graying, breakage, and thinning by taking care of your hair from deep within. And joining me today is one of my team members. You guys already know her. She's our brand strategist and a testament that your complicated relationship with natural hair can actually turn into a love story. Just in case you didn't get the gist, take this as a sign to check out our episode on the generational hair divide from survival to the digital revolution. My gosh, you will love it. So, Feromi, welcome back again. It's amazing to have you join us. Please, can you reintroduce yourself so we can meet you again?
Okay, hi everybody. Thank you so much, Gania. It's good to be back here.
Okay.
Like she said, my name is Feromi. I'm part of the Dara team. I work on brand strategy. And like I always say, I'm someone who has had a very, let's say complex relationship with my natural hair over the years. But I mean, through learning, unlearning, and understanding hair, that relationship has evolved into love. So I'm excited to be part of this conversation today. Thank you.
So good to have you join us, Feromi. So let me start like this. For the longest time, when people heard anti-aging, we thought skincare. I mean, the serums, retinol, sunscreen, fine lines, wrinkles, crinkles. Hair was not invited to that conversation at all. But now, hair has entered the chat group. We're seeing people in their 20s and early 30s saying, my edges are not as full as before, or my hair used to be thicker, or why is my texture changing? Even young people are like, why am I seeing gray hairs already? And that's my own situation right now, Sha. Feromi, have you noticed how much we've entered that hair preservation era where we're now more conscious of our hair? And you can even share something personal along the lines.
Okay, yeah. Honestly, it feels personal. It feels very personal. And I think a lot of us are no longer just reacting to hair problems. We are becoming proactive about it. We are noticing changes earlier. We are noticing texture, porosity, density, how our hair responds to the things that we eat, to things that, to stress, and instead of ignoring it, and saying, it's just part of it. That's how hair is supposed to be. It's going to happen. When it's time for it to go, we're asking questions,
Yeah.
So for me, it's been more like a shift from how do I what is that quick thing that I can do to fix this issue that I have, to more of what can I do to have long-term, I want to have beautiful hair, I want to have fine hair.
Yes.
So what can I do now that will make, that would do long term and will protect what I have, protect basically. So, and I think that's a big mindset shift for me. Yeah.
Honestly, and I would say I'm glad, or should I say thank God for science, because this is where it comes in. As you said, we're trying to preserve our hair as much as possible. And when we say hair is aging, we're not just talking about gray hair. What's really happening is something called follicle fatigue. I think we all know what hair follicle is. That's where your hair grows out from. Think of it as a small factory. When you're younger, that factory works smoothly with strong strands. You have full density and almost seamless growth cycles. But as time goes on, thanks to stress, the environment, life be lifing, that factory starts to slow down.
Yeah. And, the growth phase now becomes shorter. Hair strands begin to grow thinner, the shedding becomes more frequent, and, like water. And then you begin to ask, what is the reason for this? Guys, is collagen lost in the scalp? And yes, not only does your skin lose collagen, because sometimes we forget that our scalp is skin too.
What do you think, Fermi? Because I feel we've said it so many times on this podcast. We tend to focus so much on our skin and we forget that our scalp is skin. And if we're investing in facials but ignoring scalp care, the math is not mathing. So what's your take on treating the scalp like skin?
I completely agree with you, Gania. The math is really not mathing. Because we invest so much in skincare, like you said, because we understand that healthy skin needs consistency. It needs some ingredients and it needs consistent care, care over time. And we forget that the scalp is skin too, just like the follicles that are attached to the scalp. And when we ignore our scalp and focus only on the hair that we see, we're missing the roots of things. We're missing the foundation, right? But if we treat the scalp like skin, it means that we're cleansing properly, we're nourishing it, we're protecting it. And that is where long-term hair health actually starts from. If you want to have good hair, if you want to have healthy hair, you need to take care of the foundation. Like we would say, I'm sorry, but like we would say, if the foundation be destroyed, what shall the righteous do? If the foundation of your hair is messed up, you don't expect to have a good head of hair. So yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is very, very important reminder for me. And as you said, you touched on ingredients. And this is where I would probably say ingredients like copper peptides come in, especially modern hair care serums. They don't just coat the hair, they actually send signals to the follicle to stay active and supported. So, Farami, let's talk about how science has shifted from surface level oils to hair circles like copper peptides.
The shift has been huge. For a long time, hair care was very surface level. Oils, butter, things that just made hair look good temporarily. But now it's different. You have ingredients like copper peptides that communicate with, the follicle. They support collagen, they support circulation and the overall scalp environment. So instead of just masking issues, we're now supporting the biology of hair growth itself. instead of just masking issues and say, let's just, let's oil butter. We see trichologists now trying to figure out like what is going on exactly before we start applying things, just putting things over what the issue is. They want to know what the problem is. So I think it's much more intentional and science-led approach now compared to before. Yeah.
Yeah, well said. I think another big factor we need to talk about is stress. And this one, a lot of us can relate. As adults, man, stress, inevitable. And what really matters about stress is how you manage it. The reality is when stress levels stay high for long periods, the body produces cortisol. And some of us might be wondering, what is cortisol? Cortisol is a stress hormone your body releases when you're under pressure. And cortisol doesn't care about your hair goals at all. When your body is stressed, it starts redirecting energy to survival, not aesthetics, aka things like your hair. So hair follicles literally get the message as, let's pause, let's rest, and then it enters shedding mode. That's why a lot of people experience or actually noticed increased levels of shedding during work burnout, major life transitions, when they are going through serious emotional stress, or maybe even when they're relocating from one city to another. So this is why slowing down grays isn't just about products. It's actually about lifestyle awareness also. So Fermi, what is your take on this? Do you feel like we underestimate how much stress actually impacts our hair?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we underestimate it because stress is not just emotional. There's something biological about stress. And I think that when your body is constantly under stress, it goes into survival mode. You just want to do everything to get by. And then in the long run or on the long run, your hair becomes, for lack of a better word, non-essential. Like, let's just, all of us are surviving. The hair has to survive. So because of that, because there's no intentionality, you're just, doing everything to get by. There is no proper care. There's no proper wash day. You're just probably getting under the shower, pouring water, putting the shampoo, rinsing it off. And then after that, you just put the conditioner, rinse it off and dab your hair with a towel or just sit under the fan or in front of the fan or something like that. That's just it. And then you go on to braid your hair. There's no proper... At that point, we understand that the shedding will increase. We understand that there's going to be slow growth. We understand that a lot of things can go wrong. A lot of things can be affected, right? And because a lot of people are looking for a miracle product, which is sometimes the biggest... I mean, I feel like 90% of everybody with natural hair wants a miracle product that will just either make your hair fuller, thicker, longer, things like that.
Yeah.
But sometimes the biggest intervention is rest and good or
please repeat
diet.
It. Please repeat it again. Please repeat it
I
again.
said sometimes the biggest intervention is rest and a healthy diet. So your rest routine and stress management, I mean, it will reflect what is happening internally. Your hair is just, whatever is going on inside of you is going to come out in your hair. So you have to rest very well, manage your stress very well so that you can see the results in the crown,
Yeah, and I think it's also important to note, I know that when I talked about stress and we were talking about stress, it was in the context of you have a lot on your plate. You're going through a lot. I think it's also important to highlight a situation whereby, for example, your body experiences an infection. That's also stress. And if you pay attention closely, if, for example, you experience you're ill or you go through surgery, you lose a lot of blood, those are other instances whereby you actually see a lot of shedding. So I just wanted to flag that because I think it's important for us to provide like the broad view of what stress can look like. And some of it we can't even control. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So before we move too far, there's one question I know is on a lot of people's minds now because We've mentioned grays a few times now. I think we have to be very clear so you get the right information. People always ask, especially for young people, I would say, that are already seeing gray hairs. Why is my hair actually turning gray so early? Is it stress? Is it genetics? You get me, Fermi. So let's break this one down properly. What actually causes gray hair?
Honestly, gray hair isn't just one thing. It is a mixture of biology, lifestyle, and timing. And at the core of it, gray hair happens when your hair stops producing enough melanin. That's the pigment that gives your hair its color. So now, why does melanin reduce? Firstly, because of genetics. If early graying runs in your family, your follicles are already programmed to slow melanin production earlier than average. Another one is oxidative stress. And this is a big one that people don't talk about enough. Everyday stress, pollution, UV exposure, and poor sleep, all of that creates free radicals in the body. And then those free radicals damage the melanocyte cells that produce pigment in the hair, right? Yeah. And thirdly, we can say that chronic stress and cortisol, when stress stays high for long periods, cortisol interferes with pigment producing cells. So yes, stress doesn't just make the hair fall. It can actually speed up graying. So please prioritize rest so we don't confuse you for an old woman because of too much gray hair on your head. Also, another thing that causes gray is nutrient depletion. Low levels of things like copper, iron, B12, amino acids can affect melanin synthesis. So if the follicle doesn't have the right building blocks, pigment production slows down. So graying is not random. It's your follicles responding to internal and external signals.
That's actually very important information because it tells us something. Gray hair aren't just an appearance issue. They're actually a biological feedback. It's your body actually communicating what's happening internally, as Fermi alluded to. So the real question becomes, if graying is a process, can we slow it down? And now let's make this practical because someone listening right now might be thinking, okay, Gania, this is all interesting, but what do I actually do? What are the solutions to slowing down gray hair? I will say yes. And this is where we have to be very honest and responsible. Science doesn't promise that you can reverse gray hair completely. And before we even go there, let me say this very clearly. What we're about to share is based on current research and emerging conversations in hair science. This is not medical advice. If you're considering advanced treatments or supplements, it's always best to speak with a dermatologist or trichologist. Because even we ourselves, we've not tried some of these recommendations, primarily speaking, based on research, right, Fermi?
Yes, so. Yes, please. This is based on current research. And it's best to speak with a dermatologist or a trichologist. And honestly, what even stood out to me is that hair longevity is not about doing plenty of things. You get me? Yeah. It's more about timing and supporting the scalp properly. So from the research we looked at, there are three major areas people are focusing on right now when it comes to slowing down grays or reducing grays. First is nighttime scalp care. Research shows that the scalp, just like the facial skin, repairs itself better while we sleep. So people are using lightweight scalp serums at night, especially ones with copper peptides, because these ingredients don't just sit on the hair. They support the scalp environment where hair actually grows. And if you check what people are saying about copper peptides, hair stuff like copper peptides help support scalp strength and elasticity over time. Some studies even suggest that they may encourage healthier follicles by supporting collagen and blood flow in the scalp. So yes, it's not an overnight miracle, but more of a long-term support system.
Exactly. And the second one is reducing daily damage, not just fixing hair after it's damaged. Things like UV exposure, hot water, even constant friction can slowly weaken hair proteins. So people are now paying attention to and using leave-in products with protective ingredients. They are practicing gentle cleansing and even covering their hair when they're in harsh environments because, as that saying goes, prevention is better than cure. Also, one other thing is stress awareness. A lot of professionals are realizing that chronic stress affects hair growth cycles. Chronic stress affects hair growth cycles. And like we mentioned previously, when stress stays high, the body prioritizes survival over things like hair, which can lead to shedding or early graying. So, lifestyle habits like resting, having a routine, and even engaging in calming scalp massages are becoming part of hair care conversations now. I know we said we're just going to talk about 3 things. I thought it would be good to throw in one more thing for our science geeks. Another recommendation is what we call red light therapy. So I'll be very brief with this. Red light therapy involves using an LED device at a wavelength of 650 nanometers. This specific wavelength of light is absorbed by our cells to create energy in form of what is called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. If you're good in biology or if you paid attention in biology, you know what that is. To put it in simple terms, this is just cell food. It gives the follicle the energy to stay in the growth phase. So to wrap this all up, the general idea is this: support your scalp, reduce daily breakage, and don't wait until hair starts falling before you act. So here's the key takeaway, guys. Hair longevity is not about waiting until there's a problem. It's about early care, intentional routines, and understanding your hair biology. Just like you plan your career, just like you plan your finances, your hair care at least deserves a decent amount of foresight. Hermie, where do you personally hope hair care culture goes in the next few years?
So I really hope that we move toward a culture of education and understanding that early care is better, that people stop waiting until their hair begins to fall out or they start graying or their hair starts graying or they have major issues with their hair before they act and start looking for shortcuts. And they understand that hair deserves, the same level of planning that we give our skin. Every morning you do a 5-step routine for your face and your body. I think that we should go into your hair too. It's not so much for your hair. The same way you plan what am I going to do this month in my career? What am I gonna, what's the plan for the quarter? It's the same thing. You should take time to plan your hair. The same thing with your finances. So the same level of planning we give our skin, our career, our finances, we should give our hair. I also hope that we see more conversation around scalp health about, the impact of stress on hair growth, diet on hair growth, lifestyle generally on hair growth, because hair does not exist in isolation. Yeah, basically, that's what I think.
Whew, that was an interesting conversation. Thank you so much, Farami, for joining me again. You always bring that sweet blend of vibes and knowledge. To our amazing listeners, whether you're 22, 30, or 50 or 40. I hope this got you thinking deeper about how you care for your hair, because your hair is listening to how you care for it today. And aging gracefully is not accidental. It's also not just limited to your skin. Your strands deserves that same intentional love. And don't forget, you can explore our intentional, natural, science-backed products at www.eydaraturals.com. Eydara is spelled Eydara, and naturals is Naturals, especially if you're ready to start treating your scalp like the foundation it truly is. Thank you for listening to Unraveling the Knots. If you loved today's episode, please share it with your tribe. Don't forget to share your own hair story with us at utkinhair@gmail.com, or even send us a DM on Instagram at UTK Podcast. One more thing, we would definitely appreciate your rating of our podcast. I'm still your host, Ganiat, and I will catch you on the next episode.